Hi, mystery writers. Oh my gosh. Wow, the wind just blew my door open. It's kind of blustery here today. So, a few seconds late. Anyway, here we are. It's our studio time. And today I want to talk about flaws in your main character, your protagonist, your detective, in your mystery. Um, Everyone has flaws, and some are more appealing than others, and that's true for your detectives. On the other hand, as far as readers are concerned, flaws and weaknesses keep your hero from being unrelatable. Flaws make your character relatable to your reader. They understand shortcomings. A reader has shortcomings because they're human beings, and they may not have the same shortcomings as your detective, but they understand how shortcomings can get in your way. All right. So, first of all, an all good character just isn't believable. All right. And an unbelievable character keeps your reader from empathizing, keeps your reader from caring. And I know I say this almost every time, but you want your reader to care about your character, because when they care, they're going to follow your detective through the whole mystery solving adventure. Um, they're just not going to go your 300 or more pages through your mystery to get to the end of your story. First you have to get them to care. And without flaws, your character is either flat and uninteresting or too good to be true. Either way, it's not going to work. Uh, so you won't capture your reader's interest enough to care enough to learn their story. And in our case, their story is solving the mystery puzzle. That's why your readers think they're there. They think they're there because they want to solve the puzzle. But if they don't care, they're going to go find another mystery. So, flaws and weaknesses in your character allow them to make mistakes and bad choices, and those lead to a compelling story, because when they do make mistakes, they get themselves into bad situations. Um, a protagonist who never makes mistakes, never gets scared, doesn't misread a situation, may end up relying on outside forces to drive the plot, and you don't want that. You want, as far as plot is concerned, you want your protagonist to be the main action mover of your story. All right. And if the flaw doesn't fit the story, it's going to feel forced and readers won't care. All right. On the other hand, significant dysfunctional character flaws will drive away your reader. Uh, Big flaws can actually drive your story out of your plot. If your character has a great big huge flaw that they're dealing with, and they're spending lots of time dealing with their shortcoming, your reader's going to get lost in all of this shortcoming stuff and keep waiting for the mystery part, the puzzle part, to come back in your story. So you don't want your flaw to like overwhelm your character and therefore overwhelm the story. Um, let's see, where was I in my thinking? Um, So, character flaws make your reader worry about your hero. That's what you want your character flaws to do. You want them to worry about your hero enough to worry about whether they're actually going to solve this mystery they came to read, right? So, balance is important. You want to keep your reader guessing, Balancing your hero's redeeming qualities with their weaknesses gives you choices about their next action. This is how you can keep suspense going scene by scene, all right? It also keeps the reader wondering when the character has to make a choice. When a character has to make a choice, the reader's going to wonder, well, are they going to choose this or are they going to choose that, right? And at the moment of choice, your character has the potential to make the right decision, but a flaw creates a high possibility for messing up. So you want to keep that balance between making the right decision, because eventually they have to make right decisions in order to solve the mystery. But at the same time, um, you want those messing up instances to keep your reader wondering, how are they going to get themselves out of this? All right. So let's talk a little bit about choosing flaws for your character. When you understand your character, you can use their personality to choose flaws that fit your character and the story. Well, first of all, their fears, all right? Fear is a strong motivator and it's definitely relatable to your reader. They also work in the story because they lead to mistakes, they lead to wrong decisions, and they lead to out of character behavior. When your character's fearful, they don't act in their normal way, just like we don't act in our normal way when we are afraid. So you have ample opportunity to add conflict in your story. And fear can be rational, like a fear of snakes, or irrational, like a fear of clowns or a fear of dolls, things that aren't really threatening, but your your character has an aversion, a fear of those things. In a mystery, the fear does not need to be the thing your character must overcome to win the the final thing, right? And that's solving the mystery. In fact, when details line up to overcome the fear, your story may feel too perfect by seeming convenient or worse, coincidental. You do not want your story to feel coincidental, because remember, we want our protagonist to actually lead the action, not to have something external make the next important thing happen in your story. So aim for fears that hinder your sleuth in their goal pursuit and create conflict and cause trouble, but not big, huge fears that are going to make them stumble in this story for this story. So as you work on your character background, you can ask questions that reveal fears. So this is where you're doing your character background for your story and you're setting up, what are my character's flaws? What past traumas may affect their behavior? What irrational fear will hinder their normal activity? And do they have a secret fear that they want to keep hidden from everybody? Um, what's their publicly known fear? For instance, if they're afraid of snakes, and maybe everybody knows that they're afraid of snakes, all right? Uh, and what fears relate to their current problem in this particular mystery story? And is there a fear that's caused by a plot problem? This is where we get to interweave the plot and the character. Um, and is there also a fear drawn from an internal conflict? So there's many ways, I'm just using fear as an example. There are many ways that you can add the fear to your character and then use that flaw in the story to create incidents that have consequences where your detective has to make choices. So you want to show that flaw early in your story so your reader knows what it is, because you're setting up questions for the reader later when things get a little more dicey and where the situation can cause fear to cause failure later in your story. That fear may just stop your protagonist from actually doing what they need to do. And your protagonist can also make mistakes made in fear. They make the wrong choices when they're in fear, all right, and make more mistakes. So every time they make a mistake, you have a problem to overcome in your story. So, other flaws that you can use are things like personal prejudice, preformed opinions, and this can really happen when they're with suspects because they can misread and mishear actually suspect statements because they have these preformed opinions about this type of person. That's one way that you can use flaws. Um, so when you're looking at personal prejudice, you can consider your character's background, their culture, their family traditions, their schooling, um, to create flawed opinions. And I know I've talked before about how opinions make your character relatable, so they get to have strong opinions. Um, Biases and opinions affect how your sleuth interacts with the world and with other people and with settings and how they perceive the culture around them. So that they offer you many opportunities to uh, create puzzling incidents in your story. And then one last thing I want to mention is their good traits can turn into flaws. So, and you can do this the same way, set up this trait at the beginning, and then when they carry it to an extreme later on in the story, it can cause problems. So, for example, your hero always does the right thing, but is surrounded by people who don't always do the right thing. And in that case, it's going to get blocked. He or she is going to get blocked because even though they feel that they're doing the right thing, it's not working with the people and the world around them. And so, if she's tenacious and encounters a situation that requires her to give up to win, she's going to be in trouble because it's going to be really, really hard for her to give up, right? So, one of the things you can do is to force your hero to go against their nature. They always act this way, and you've set that up for your reader early on in the story. But now they have to do something that is just against their nature. Um, so, I'm going to see. I, I think what I want to emphasize here is that character weaknesses actually strengthen your story, all right? Because you build tension for the reader as they wonder how your hero is going to get out of a bad situation. So, flaws and weaknesses lead your character astray, making decisions that lead to new complications, heading toward a challenge to that weakness, a misunderstanding, or misjudging other characters. So, for us as writers, flaws are good for our characters, right? And they help you create a good story. Um, so, what's a good flaw? A weakness that fits your protagonist's personality and works in your story plot without overwhelming either the character or the plot. Right? So have fun creating your character flaws because they really help you keep your character from being one, a goody two shoes and a flat character, and two, they help you create all kinds of complicated situations and obstacles that your character now has to deal with in order to get on with actually solving the puzzle. All right, I hope that helps. Flaws are good for your character. All right. Keep writing. Thank you for being here. And as always, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Thanks so much.